You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Ian Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for The Good Wife. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip about The Good Wife. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for The Good Wife.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
To
Oh, God, that was loud.
So I guess our fall finale of AfterBuzz TV for The Good Wife.
Yes, it is.
Our last podcast of 2011.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. For episode 11, entitled
Yay.
What Went Wrong. It was a good I liked this episode a lot.
My
It
goodness.
was really
I
good.
was, invested. I had a hard time taking notes because I was so, watching so much. I was like, okay,
Yes.
I need to write this. I was, rewinding to write lines down.
Yeah.
It was one of those where everyone was involved in the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kept going from the minute it started. It just never veered or stopped or anything.
Yeah, it was great. All around.
Yeah, it was a really great way to end the year, to leave us for the holidays, to leave us waiting and wanting more. They teed it
No,
up
I'm mad that this is
perfectly.
the last episode.
Yeah, I am too.
You know.
It makes me want to cry.
You know how I am. I'm just, I don't like it.
I know. All right, well, let's get into it. First, I want to just talk about, obviously, everyone was involved in this case this week. The show is titled What Went Wrong. Everything was about what went wrong in this jury deliberation.
Yeah.
We see that all of Lockhart Gardner, including Justin Coyne from Legal Aid, was working on this case to defend a police officer who was accused of killing her husband and making it look like suicide for insurance money.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like this woman was innocent. Everyone seems to believe this woman was innocent. Carrie and Dana seem to believe this woman was innocent, and they didn't do a very good job. The judge clearly is on their side. And yet, in the beginning of the episode, we see the jury come back with a guilty verdict.
Yeah, that was so dramatic.
That was stank.
It was even the way they did it, it was so dramatic.
God, I'm on
each
one
juror, each juror, they were guilty.
Right.
And then that one lady, she just paused and she was like,
I know. And then
I'm sorry.
And then the other guy who actually said guilty before he said, or he said
said
not
not
guilty
guilty.
before he said guilty.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. It was cool to see. I think this is one of the few. I mean, I'm sure we've seen it before, but one of the few times where we've seen it, what happens when a case is done and what they do once the case ends. And after that verdict comes in, sort of how much scrambling still continues beyond that.
Yeah. It wasn't ending at that moment.
Right. We started with the ending, essentially, of the case. And so we see that, the Carrie and Dana were even willing to make a deal before the jury came in. They offered the woman second-degree murder, 4 years. She'd probably only serve a minimum of 1. And she is so adamant that she is not guilty.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't do this.
She's not going to admit to it.
Yeah.
And so she decides to pass on the deal. They all sort of think that it's going to come out in their favor. And then, of course, it doesn't. And so we see Lockhart Gardner jump into action almost
sure did.
Immediately.
Get Kalinda.
Immediately jump into action.
Man.
And decide they need to pull the... first they pull the jury, then they want to speak to each juror, which apparently... I mean, I don't know the logistics of how legal that is, but I guess there isn't really... an issue unless the juror claims that there's harassment afterwards.
And Carrie was annoying me with that this time. I mean, I really was like, he was like, just his whole attitude when, I mean, obviously it was what he had to do because he wants to win. He had to do whatever, is necessary to win. So I got it. But the fact that he was acting like that and, trying to get people arrested.
In the parking lot.
Man.
This week, really, Carrie and Dana especially, I'm done with that character.
I'm so done with her.
I wanted to knock her out.
I'm
so done with her.
Slam her up against the doors.
I was over her the minute she ran to Wendy and wanted to turn it into some sort of judicial misconduct.
took it to a
she
whole
played really
nother-
dirty.
It was real dirty, and I was like,
and
dirty.
you know how she reacted to Kalinda. First of all, I love Kalinda's reaction when she first walked away, and she was like, "Okay, I've heard what you had to say. And I got it."
right.
You know. And then when she made that comment when she was going to when Kalinda was going to jail, I was like, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I'm done. You and Wendy.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Just
the two
bounce.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she flipped for me because she was kind of on the fence as I've been watching her over the last few episodes, and I kind of liked that banter and kind of liked the bad girl, thinking that she would play fair. But this week just put her way on the other side for me as well. I was thinking this woman.
It was almost like it was like some sort of like crybaby thing. Like she was losing and she couldn't handle that, and she like was trying to cheat in a way that lawyers even shouldn't cheat.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sort of turned a character who was sort of sometimes fun in the scenes with Clintus now, where I don't like her at all, and I don't know when I ever will
At all.
And I'm sort of ready
Of course
for
not,
her to
because we
be
love
taken down
It's like, okay, next.
and leave. Right.
Yeah. I mean, because we love Kalinda, so you know, hey,
Man.
you mess with Kalinda, you mess with me.
Right.
Yeah, you mess with the crew.
Right. And we see, Carrie, Kalinda's goes to talk to that foreman, and Carrie shows up and she's like, "Am I harassing you, sir?" And Carrie's found that loophole where he's a public servant. So it doesn't matter if he claims or not, as long as she's impeding on his ability to do his work. She can take him down. So now it's up to Lockhart Gardner to find a way to prove this was a mistrial.
Yeah.
We see that they found the trash. They got the trash from the jury room, and they dig through this disgusting.
It's ridiculous.
Don't write anything down.
Food remains.
I know. Or take it with you.
Trash.
Right? Take all the trash
Well, they
with
can't.
you.
That's
Rappers.
why they find it, because juries aren't allowed to take that with them.
Chew it up.
They have to leave
like it's
everything
some
in
narcotics or
that
something.
everything in that room.
Eat it.
Do they? I wonder if they keep it. Anyway, go ahead. I'm listening.
Right. So we first see that their first attempt is to go after this woman, the first woman who was shown as a weak link when they pulled the jury.
The
this
button collector.
blogger.
All this woman.
I was like, does this really exist?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's blogs for everything.
Yeah, man.
And we see that she was blogging twice a day, even during the trial. She blogged about the trial. So that's
Shame
their
on
first
her.
attempt at trying to get the verdict thrown out.
Yeah.
And the judge, who at this point is sympathetic to their cause and is very, very blatant about the fact that he wants to overturn the verdict, but he needs
Something
more
concrete.
Yes, more, not such a basic thing as just talking about that she's in a trial. And at this point, this is when, as we said, Dana immediately runs to Wendy. And then we have this great scene. The scene between Wendy and the judge, as much as I hate Wendy, was such a great scene, because that judge was
so
not
good.
was not.
I couldn't stand her.
Oh, it was just. It was.
He was so
And
good.
he held his own.
Held
He
it.
did. He held his own, but then
And he started reading her rights.
Yes.
He started saying, are you trying to influence me? You know,
Right.
it was just.
So basically, you're doing what you're
what you're
claiming.
has
Right.
happened to me. Right.
which is illegal, mind you.
Exactly. But so it seems though at this point he does sort of pull back in his support of Lockhart Gardner, because the next time they come in, they bring the juror who was threatened. They find
Yes.
his notes that change your vote or you'll be sorry. And he's
That's
really
blatant.
he's not having it. He doesn't want to. He's really sort of been swayed and pulled
Yeah.
back, and he's not so much on their side anymore. So they're still trying all they can. They realize that the votes changed in between lunch. That before lunch there were 9 people who were voting not guilty, and after lunch immediately it flipped to 10 people voting guilty. And at this point they know that something happened. They need to figure out what happened. So Kalinda goes back to the button blogger, because it seems to be the only juror who's
Button blogger.
talking, because Kalinda's figured out to sort of talk about the buttons, and she'll talk about everything else. And
Which is smart.
You're so
Right.
smart.
And this is, we've been talking about how we've been wanting to see Kalinda back in her
Yes.
in her role as the person who solves everything. And,
Yes.
and we got back to that this week.
Yep.
And
It
last
was,
week.
Right. It was great. It was great this week. But so they found out from her that at lunch that day the foreman had left the group and gone to a computer cafe, which I don't know how that's even allowed, because I was always in the impression that you're sequestered and you stay together as a jury. So something was wrong there, which I think him even leaving should have been grounds for a mistrial.
Right. That means he left the premises.
Right.
Yeah.
But then we find out what he did. He went and researched the cop who provided the alibi witness for the defendant. And this cop was involved in a shooting. The cop was black and had shot an unarmed Latino youth, and the foreman was Latino as well. And there was belief that the cop got off but shouldn't have gotten off as easy as he did. And immediately after that, the foreman has now decided that this alibi isn't sturdy.
Yeah,
that this man
credible.
isn't to be trusted.
Yeah, that's shady.
Right.
That alone should have been a mistrial. I'm like, come on, people.
And I was really surprised that it,
that wasn't what. And then they bring this. Kalinda brings this to Diane and to Justin. Like, it's not enough. We've lost the judge. We need something even firmer, even more. And so Kalinda says, "Okay, I'll go find more. We need to get these affidavits. We need something else." And Alicia,
that Wendy Scott car.
Yeah, that woman.
Right. So Kalinda and Alicia go back to the button lady, and they want to find information on how to contact the rest of these button people, or the button people, the jury, from the button lady. And they see that the judge accepted the button woman's friend request while they were in deliberation.
And that was it.
And this is the way. And it was sort of great to me because as I was watching, I thought to myself, don't turn on Lockhart Gardner or Lockhart Gardner will turn on you.
Yeah.
Like, they found somehow the judge turned, and they were able to they could have taken the judge down even more than they did with just the mistrial. I was like, that's so great that he turned on them.
Yeah.
And it backfired in his face.
In my mind, I wonder if he did that on purpose.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. I
was like, did he do that on purpose?
Wonder. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even.
What the intentions of the writers
cross
were.
my mind.
Because
but
he didn't.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I know that he was in support of her not being guilty.
Right.
He was in support of a different verdict, so that made me wonder if
he did it on
he
purpose.
knows the law. Come on.
But then, I mean, his explanation did sort of pan out that he is running for election. He doesn't even look at people. He just adds them because
like me,
he
so
wants...
I can't say anything. That's why I was like, well, I can agree with that.
That's true.
I can see that. But I did think, because he was just like, man,
right.
His reaction,
right.
His reaction was just like, and he grabbed his coat and he was like,
I don't know what to tell you.
Guess we'll call this a mistrial.
Right.
And I was like, well, that just makes it look like he did do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Intentionally.
Exactly.
But I'm sure but it sounded like he did it prior to this whole
right. It happened during the deliberation.
Exactly.
So it was before the verdict had come in.
Yeah, it was before the verdict had come in.
Because that's what could have ruled it a mistrial. Because he can have contact with them after the case. Like, they're allowed to speak to whomever. But it was during the deliberation that was what was able to give them the ruling of mistrial.
Right.
So it ended up, working out for them. It was a really great case this week. I was actually, we talk about how sometimes we wish they'd pull away from the case so much and focus on the personal life. But this one actually was very interesting. And it through the case, we were able to get so much personal story. It didn't detract from the personal story.
Yeah, right. And I think that's the combination that I like, is when they have both.
Right. When the case is able to be used to reveal other things.
Right.
Whereas it's just a case that doesn't really have
because nobody
any
cares
effect.
much about the case. Everybody cares about the relationships that are the actors that are on the
Exactly.
screen.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that made, it was just a great balance. It was a really good balance. The ones in the past, we've always been like, can we get some personal stuff going on? But whoever wrote this had that perfect marriage between personal and the case.
They found that really good balance.
Yeah, it was really good.
Well, I want to get into the next little part that was such a bomb that was dropped at the end of the episode. We've now finally been revealed the true nature of what Wendy Scott Carr is out to do. And we talked about it when we first got the scoop of why is Wendy coming back, what is she going to be coming back for? And we all sort of kind of thought that she'd be coming back to gun for Peter. That's what we thought she'd be doing.
Initially.
And we saw then that we were shown that she was actually going to be working with Peter. She was brought in because he couldn't lead this himself. And we thought, okay, now she's going after Lockhart Gardner. It's interesting. But it wasn't what any of us thought. And this week, lo and behold, we were all sort of
blown
away.
Blown away.
I mean, I literally, my mouth did drop open when she.
Yes,
when
I
that
had to
came out.
rewind because I was like.
That was me, but I was screaming.
Oh, yeah, you were screaming, so you do the scream, and I'll do the drop. I was just like.
I was on my couch. Just like yelling. I know my neighbors thought I was crazy. because I was like, oh no, I jump up, rewind it.
Oh,
Right.
that was
This woman.
I know. We see her, it's the end of the episode. Will is alone playing basketball by himself.
Because everyone has been
Everyone's
scared
left.
away.
Everybody's scared.
Right. And
This is not a pickup
I
game.
loved his answer too.
Yeah.
Right. We see her walking in and she says, so you chased them all away, huh?
Yeah, I love that.
And she, starts to talk about how she did nothing of the sort, and she's doing her whole
She
thing.
always
Full of crap.
talks so airy.
Right. And then the bomb actually drops that she's not out for him. Or
Yeah.
so she says.
Yeah, so she says.
I still don't know if we know anything of the truth of Wendy's
No, we
got Carr and
don't.
what she's doing. But she says that I'm not out for you. Mine is bigger. It's somebody who used to be involved in your games. And Will just laughs and says, only in Cook County. Only in Cook County.
Only in Cook County.
This happened, and we realize that Wendy is out for revenge, and she wants to take Peter down.
Take Peter down.
And
Love his response to this. Go ahead.
Yes.
right, and to Will's great defense, he will not play ball. He has no desire, and it could be so easy. He could be wanting, to strike back at Peter.
Yeah.
But at least as of right now, he is being the bigger man.
I think he should.
And he says, I am not going to do that.
I'm going to get
Yeah,
a lawyer.
I'll get a lawyer.
Yeah.
She
You
says
can
that-
talk to me then.
And then she says, well, the next time we speak, it'll be in front of a grand jury. And he says, well,
Fine.
all right, play ball.
Yeah.
And we know, as we revealed before, who his lawyer is going to be. Elsbeth,
Yes.
the return of Carrie.
Yes.
So I'm so excited to see the head-to-head between her and Wendy Carr. And
Oh, I can't wait
hope
to
that
see
she
her.
takes
I
Wendy
know.
I
down.
hope she
Me
takes
too.
her down.
Obviously, you're doing a great job because we don't like you. So
Yeah, she's doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't want her
so
to
I
not have
to-
a job. We just
Right.
don't like her character.
I just don't like. Yes. Yeah. Ooh.
Right.
Ooh. She drives me
Right,
nuts.
that character
the
is
minute
written
she
so perfectly.
walks on this, as soon as they put her on the screen,
Oh.
I just.
Right, she's very clearly the villain
Ooh.
of this season. Wendy Carr is the villain.
She doesn't have to say a word.
Right, exactly.
As soon as she
Brilliant.
steps on, I just
That's brilliant. She's
Yeah.
good.
her and Dana.
Yeah, definitely. But so this sets up so much for coming back in the new year, and it really leaves. I mean, there's so many questions. Will Will go to Eli and tell him this because they've sort of struck this new friendship, to let Peter know, or is Will going to be the spurned lover and react in a way? I mean, he still has that opportunity. He still
That'd
could.
be kind of bitchy. Sorry.
I
Excuse
do
me,
as well.
censor that,
I think
whatever.
it would be kind of
Like, yeah.
a little boy move on Will's part if he did,
Majorly.
in fact, turn on Peter.
That's what I think.
But there's
I
so
agree.
much, and we'll get to that in predictions. But just a total bomb drop in that last scene there. Moving on, though, we haven't really talked about Alicia yet. There's so much change this week in every relationship that Alicia has.
Yeah.
We see a change with her interactions with Peter, with Kalinda, with Diane, and with Will.
And Carrie.
And Carrie.
Yes. She
and
went gangster.
yes. So we'll start at the beginning in Alicia's week.
Yeah.
Her first, we see her with Peter, and they're friendly.
Yeah.
There's been a shift here in their worry about Grace last week, and whether or not they are getting back together romantically, they are now able to.
Sorry, I just couldn't help myself. I could not help myself.
Whether or not they are coming back together as a couple, they are able to, I think, be friends, and I think that that's what we're seeing a start of. And whether it goes romantic, I'm still on the fence of whether that will happen. But we've seen that they are able to communicate now, whereas in the past weeks they have not. There was really no communication between the two of them.
And it always seemed like it was Alicia who was uneasy. Peter always seemed to have a sense of calm, and I think that Alicia seemed to be comfortable. Just
Right.
comfortable talking with him, comfortable handling business.
Exactly. And we find out that she's been trying to get the kids into a private school. The whole thing last week scared her, and she they're sort of saying no, they have no room, they can't fit him in, until she drops that, oh, my husband
Name
is
dropping.
Peter Florrick, right?
I did like that. I love
I'm
that.
not Florrick. And the woman all of a sudden perks up and is more receptive to them and grants a meeting, and Peter's gonna be there, and they have this great meeting between the two of them.
Charms her.
Right, and she's
and you see that look that did you see that look that that Alicia gave her, or just when she was like
when they walked in?
Oh, it's usually the other way around, and
yeah.
And then he's Peter says whatever, and then Alicia's like.
A little half-fake smile.
Yeah.
Right. But so eventually the school does turn them down, doesn't want to set a precedent, and Alicia, we don't even know what Alicia says to Peter.
Nope.
Alicia calls Peter, and through Peter, we all we hear is say, okay, calm down. What? Okay, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And he took care of
I
it.
have to admit, that was kind of sexy.
That was sexy.
But I was still like, he just went gangster. He was gangster in a suit.
And that's who he is, and that's why I like him.
Right. What's so interesting, though, is...
I'm mad that I like
sexy.
him.
What's so interesting to me is that, we've seen Peter talking about how he wants to run a clean office, and now this is 2 weeks in a row where he's used his political clout to get what he wants in his personal life. And what worries me is this coming back to bite him now that Wendy is gunning for him. Yeah. So I am a little, as great as it was to see him, like, ball out and go for his family. I'm worried now. Yeah, right. It was completely unprofessional.
And yet it was so right.
It was so wrong on all
levels. But so right.
On all levels.
Right. But
every level.
It is.
But he skated that line. He was like, "Oh, I was just investigating for my kids' sake."
But then he puts it right out there and he says, I wrote it down, "I'm the state's attorney. You don't say no to me."
Yeah.
And I was just like...
I was like, okay.
And I was where you were. I was just like, oh my
There goes clean office Peter.
Yeah, clean office is out.
And see, I wasn't even thinking that. I was like, that's right. You tell him. I am Peter Floyd.
Right.
You don't tell me no. The only person who can tell me no is my wife.
Who's sleeping in another house.
So we see that, they are... Things with Peter are getting a little better. Things with Will, on the other hand, we see there's a very brief interaction in the top of the episode. They go in and she wants to talk to him and she wants to make sure things don't be awkward. And he says things won't be awkward. We're adults, and we hope that that's the truth. We hope.
He seemed a little cold. I think it's cool.
We're adults. I've had relationships like that. We're adults. We can handle this.
I think though that she can't expect.
Yeah.
I think she can't expect it to be the same. It's of course the friendship isn't going to be there, and at least in the beginning, it can't be, and she can't expect that from him. That wouldn't be fair. But I do think that it's at least as of right now, they are trying to manage something, but they also really aren't interacting at all either.
Yeah,
not at all. But we do see a new interaction between Alicia and Diane, which I am all for. I'm excited about this.
You don't like it?
I didn't.
Okay, why not?
Something I don't know.
Well, in the beginning, it was the beginning. Yeah, that's true. I didn't like it in the very beginning.
It's because Diane is throwing her weight around.
Yeah,
I felt like she was just she's throwing her weight.
Like she wants to keep an eye on me.
Yes.
I mean, on her.
Yeah, you're internalizing that.
Yeah. She wants to keep an eye on her.
Right.
Not me.
And I do think she is. And I do think, obviously, she's working for the better of her firm. And to keep Alicia away from will protect them in any sort of retribution that's being brought against them. But I do think that I do also believe Diane. I don't think Diane is as shady a character as like Lewis was last week, somebody who's wanting to take advantage of Alicia for the betterment. I do think that that Diane does see some greatness in Alicia. She says to her after they win, she's like, "That's what I'm talking about with your partner track. That's what I'm talking about right there. Like, this is the work that I'm seeing you do, where I believe you're on that track."
Yeah,
she did use. The only thing I didn't like, I felt like she used it as a carrot. I didn't know if she was really serious.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she was using a carrot until she made that comment. Then I was like, oh, maybe she is really serious. But I also thought that Diane was going to say some things about the very beginning when she wasn't focused, when Alicia wasn't focused. And I thought she was going to say something when she told her, I'll be in there in 1 minute. Mm-hmm. Like, no, you get in here now. But she didn't. So I was really kind of surprised.
And in all honesty, for the amount of information that Diane knows that Alicia doesn't realize or has no confirmation that she does, Diane is being very fair with Alicia because she could just fire her outright for sleeping with her boss.
She wouldn't do that because of the sexual harassment. It wouldn't look good.
Right.
Like, I don't think she would do, like, she would think, she's thinking like a lawyer, I think, because if she fired her, she was still the subordinate. So it would totally be on Will and Lockhart Gardner.
Very true. But she also could reason that your husband's office is trying to take us down. I can't have you working here anymore. You know, that also could be a reason. But she's not. True. She's not doing any of that. And in fact, to get her on her side, she's using positive enticement, which I think speaks something to Diane and the person that she is, where she's not as dirty.
I don't think she's dirty. Right. No, I don't think Diane's dirty. I just think that her motives are purely selfish. Like, I don't think she's dirty. She has a good heart.
She's looking out for her firm.
Yeah, she's looking out for her firm. I mean, they're purely selfish. It's not genuine, but I guess if it's a win-win, does it have to be genuine?
Right.
If it's a win-win.
And it didn't.
I gotta think about that one.
But and two, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Alicia didn't make that whole thing. The whole breakup had nothing to do with Diane even saying anything to Will. That sucker happened because Alicia.
Yes.
And I did not tell you. I told y'all she was not in love. With Will.
Yeah.
You did.
Did I not tell you that?
No,
Okay, just make sure. I said it. And I was like, she's not in love with him. She's just going for the ride. This is adventure.
Just going for the ride.
Well, maybe that I should have used that word.
You're right. But at the end of the episode, we do see, you know, this whole week, there's this theme about friends for Alicia, where, you know, she calls Owen because she's bored and lonely, and, you know, Owen, they have a drink, and this is where she does say that she's not in love. Yeah. She wasn't in love with Will. She was in love with it. She was in love with the excitement and all of that, and just getting her own after what Peter had done to her.
Yeah.
And, you know, she says, I don't have friends anymore. I don't have friends. And he recommends she looking up old friends, and she does go to this lunch with this woman who she has nothing in common with, and someone is ranting about this book about African tribal women who centered around their sexual conquest.
Yes, I was enjoying that story though.
I know, and she was just like,
and I think it scared Alicia because I think it reflected what she'd been doing, and that's what made her the most uncomfortable about it, because she was like,
it was kind of personal.
Right. It was
like, it was too close to home.
It was too real for her.
It seemed like everything that conversation Diane had with her in the very beginning, everything was too close to home.
Right.
I was like, what book was that? Rewind on demand. Just playing.
And so as we see her on her quest for friends, she also has the opportunity to change things with Kalinda this week. She finds out what Kalinda did for her last week, as she's going to speak to that Jimmy Patrick and pretty much lay the lot on, you're not to see my daughter anymore.
That was a good scene too.
This is not it's my decision whether she goes to church. I am her mother. And she lays it down, and because he says she really should be going in, she's like, that's not up to you.
Yeah,
that's not for you to do. I was like, thank you, Alicia. Like,
I know.
Although I kind of wish we could have seen what Peter would have done if he had gone as he wanted to.
Oh, I don't want to see. I know.
But I was
he
glad
was nice
Alicia
to the lady. He would have totally bum rushed the little boy. It was good that he didn't go.
Right. But so Alicia goes, and through this, you know, he says, she already told me, and Alicia's like, what, Grace?
You spoke to
her, and she's like, no, your assistant. And Alicia's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he's like, that lady Kalinda who came and found her. And this was
I don't understand.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, she goes to Zach. She immediately goes to Zach and is like, well, what exactly happened? And Zach sort of fills in the blanks for her and lets her know that, you know, Kalinda didn't want you to know, but she searched for her phone. She found out it was dead. She went there. She found her. She brought her home. All this stuff, but she didn't want you to know about it. And this was really the greatest way for Alicia to find this out. I was so happy they did it this way.
Me too.
And so we find out that Kalinda's been arrested. Alicia finds out Kalinda's been arrested, and she immediately, I'll go get her. I'll go bail her out. I'll go get her. Diane's sort of like, you will? And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Oh, I missed that. Now I got to remind her.
Yeah, you got to go.
Diane's she's like, are you sure? And Alicia's like, yeah, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
And so she goes, and at this point, you know, Dana's playing even dirtier, and she's like, you look pale. We're going to transfer you to the hospital. And they're playing this game. And this scene, when Alicia goes in to Carrie's office and really reads him the riot act.
I loved that scene.
Was the greatest thing that I think I've ever seen Alicia do on the show. Because I've been wanting so long for Kalinda and Alicia to get to come back together.
Yeah.
And this was the start of it. And obviously we're not there yet. It's not complete, but it's coming. We're getting there, and it's finally begun. And so she reads the riot act. You know, she's like, I can start this case against you. I will have firsthand knowledge of what you do to move people around so they can't get their arraignments and their hearings. Give her to me now.
Yeah. And
it immediately cuts to Kalinda getting her cuffs taken off and walking towards Alicia. And, they go in the car and they have this great scene.
Oh, wait. I just want to say,
Yeah.
I love the way that he walked away and then he turned back and looked at both of them and then he went around the corner. That was a great moment, too, I have to say.
That
He was
whole
Carrie.
entire moment.
That Carrie moment
He
was
was
great.
so defeated.
Yeah.
He was done in
He
by
knew
them.
he was crazy, messing with some crazy women.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So I'm sorry, go ahead. So now they're walking to
So
the car.
they get into the car,
In the
and
car
we
now.
finally the first real conversation that they've had. Kalinda thanks her first, and she says, "No, I need to thank you. You didn't have to do what you did.
Yeah.
I did because I needed you for work, but you didn't have to do anything that you did. So I'm the one who needs to be thanking you." And it's the first time where there's sort of some level ground between the two of them.
And
He's
it's
like,
yeah.
okay.
And I also loved, just Kalinda just well, she would have came home anyway. Well, she just really
She
tried to
wasn't
downplay
lost. She would've
every
come home.
single
I'm
thing.
still the same person.
Exactly. I love that line. I'm still the same person. I'm still going to help you. I'm
Yep.
still going to do,
Yep.
But I love the things that Kalinda, she just really was not trying to take credit or, and she's like, well, but you still didn't have to do any of that.
And you did.
And you did.
And then we see, when they have to go out for those affidavits, Alicia immediately, I'll go help.
Yeah.
And that smile on Kalinda's face, I was
Yes.
like, yes.
I loved the smile. Like nobody saw it. It was just between her
And us.
And us.
And it was great.
I know. She's been wanting her friend back.
Yeah.
And it's finally, she
I have
realizes
no
it's
friends.
happening.
Yeah, I do have a friend.
Right.
Because that other chick wouldn't have went and got her child.
No.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that other woman that she had lunch with wouldn't have got her Grace.
No.
Right.
Kalinda did.
Right. And so
You
at
gotta
the
have friends
end,
like that in
I
your
want to
corner.
ask you guys a question because we end the episode with Alicia at the bar waiting for somebody to come have a drink with her. Did you think it would be Kalinda walking in, or did you think it would be Diane? I was kind of thinking it'd be Kalinda,
I
that
thought
she
it would've
finally
been
called her for a
Carrie.
drink. I didn't really expect her to be
I thought it was
calling
going to
her.
be
not
Will.
Carrie.
I thought
That's
it was
what I
going to be
meant,
Will.
Will.
I thought it was going to be Will.
I thought it was gonna be Will.
And it was like, Diane?
I
What's
was
this
kind of
about?
hoping it would have been Will.
I thought it was going to be Will. I wanted it to be
Yeah.
Will so
See,
bad.
I thought it was going to be Will when she called Owen. I thought that one was going to be
I
Will.
did too.
Yes, I
The
did.
thought it was
second
gonna
one,
be
the
Will.
second
I
one,
thought
I
too.
knew it wasn't going to be, but I really thought it was going to be Kalinda after they'd worked together.
I
didn't
knew it was
think
going to be
Kalinda.
Will. I thought
I
it was
knew
going to be
Will.
Will.
But
I wanted it so bad.
I'm
I know
very
I'm
excited to
contradicting
see.
myself because I know I want her to have both. Why can't we do that?
Right?
Okay, but listen, go ahead. I'm
You
listening.
can.
But I'm excited for her. This puts this new burgeoning friendship between her and Diane because it seems like she's welcome to that, and she's gonna try this new thing.
Yeah.
So
It was just a stamp. It was kind of like this stamp on it.
yeah.
I don't
And-
know.
And then they leave us till next year.
But I wasn't. When I saw it, it didn't.
It didn't do
It didn't
anything
evoke
for me.
anything.
I know. I
inside
was
of
just
me.
like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen next week?
Yeah, I was
Like, it didn't do
oh,
anything for
okay.
me. Yeah, I was just like, oh, they're really gonna actually be friends. I thought it was just a lie.
Yeah,
Right.
I would have held on a little more if it was Will. Like
I
would've been
wanted
like,
it to be Will. I
Yeah.
wanted them to have
She's
a
not.
little.
She's not gonna have anything outside of work with Will for a good amount of time. I don't
I
think.
don't know, because they were homies.
But I think that she.
No, they were secret. I want to get with you,
Right.
homies.
I think that she's so.
Now that she got
she's
it.
putting all of her what was distracting her on top of Will. I mean, she even says when she's speaking with Owen, he says, "Quit. I can't do that. I don't like messiness. I'll The only thing that she's blaming everything on is what she did with Will, and she's not gonna. I don't think that we'll see her outside of work with him until she has to be.
I think it's some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think that was predictions.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump to commercial, and we'll come back and get some news and gossip, and then we'll get to your prediction.
AfterBuzz TV. Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And, like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives and more.
Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
Right.
Buzz about.
Right.
Well, buzzing
Let's
right
buzz,
back, and let's
buzz.
get into some news and gossip with Jesse in the booth.
DJ Jesse Janity.
He is the man, I have to say.
Oh,
He
I
has
thank you. I
DJs.
so appreciate
We
all
love
that.
you, Jesse.
Yeah, we love you.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so boy meets girl. Boy falls in love with girl. Boy waits 15 years for girl to separate from husband. And then girl breaks up with boy because she can't. Yes, the Good Wife Team Will
Oh.
fans had to close the door on Wasilia almost as quickly as those elevator doors opened just a few months ago. We don't want this show to be in that Cheers mode of when they will or won't they kind of thing, as good as that is. We wanted to show the reality that Alicia has a lot of things pressing on her and a lot of guilt trip and emotions that factor into whether she carries on an affair. Co-creator and executive producer Robert King tells TVGuide.com. There was an emotional moment last year where Grace says, "Mom, you need to protect us more." That has been nagging at Alicia all this year. However, King and his wife, co-creator and executive producer Michelle King, stressed that doesn't mean those doors have to shut forever. In our minds, Will is in love with Alicia. There is, yes, romanticism about the past and a romantic instinct towards finding commitment in your life. Robert King says, but there will be the tension for both Will and Alicia once Will starts seeing women again. If he does. There can't help but be this pang with Alicia because she is highly charged sexual being now.
Yeah, man.
Well-
I understand. Something, they say
Don't
once you
open
hit,
that
what
can
is
of
it,
worms.
30 or
Yep.
40 or something like that, it's just, the men's go down at 30 and the women go up at 30. But she's probably like 40. Don't
Yeah.
you think?
I think so.
Whatever
Well,
it is.
romance will be the furthest thing from Alicia's mind, though, as she returns her focus to her kids and especially her career. Do you choose the route of Diane, who is someone who put family on hold and put career first?
That's why she ain't got no kids.
Is there
ahead.
any way you can do that with family, King says? I think when things are not about emotional risk, they are about advancing your job. Alicia's continued struggle to balance her career and her family will bring Peter back into the picture. Peter and Alicia share a lot of difficulties and a lot of pain. What Alicia shares with Peter is something she could never share with Will, which is that they are trying to raise children. But with Peter, obviously, comes the baggage of Jackie. And how many Molotov cocktails can she throw into this?
Oh, Jackie.
Yeah, that woman. Somebody needs to. She needs to just go on and. What isn't it time for people to lose parents around this age?
How awful.
I'm sorry.
I like her too much to have her go away because she's funny. She's the comic relief for me.
Right.
That was bad. Forgive me. Scratch that. Cancel.
Well, on
Edit
top
this
of-
part out.
On top of Jackie's scheming, spying ways, there's also the issue of Peter's office investigation into Will, which Alicia has yet to find out about. Clearly, he wanted to hurt Will in private. It was also sort of a political advantage to pursue the Will investigation. It is very difficult when those two things are aligned. Something that you want and yet something that advances your career, he says. Does that undercut the honesty of it? Alicia is going to have to face that with Peter too. Ultimately, these two characters are really bonded with each other and care about each other as friends. While their relationship and intimacy level has deepened, I think what's happened right now feels right. He has his hands full with trying to remain a lawyer and stay out of prison, and it will take a lot to keep Will out of prison as the investigation brings more than a few skeletons out of his closet. It brings in a lot of major threads that have been pursuing Will for a while. Will has always kept very close to the ethical line, sometimes crossing it. That stuff doesn't go away. If there is any lesson the show has sent, it's that sins of the past keep coming back.
And they sure do. No
Yeah.
matter what.
I don't
It
remember
always
Will
comes
doing
out in the
anything
open.
Not
I think it's
that
his
we've
history.
seen
It's not.
Oh.
Yeah.
You see,
before
I'm
we
taking it.
started.
I'm taking
And
it
it's been
literal.
implied.
Okay. Go ahead.
So the investigation will also further open Will's eyes about his desire to have more in his life than just a corner office at Lockhart and Gardner. Will is going to have a brush with death in terms of his career because of what is happening with his investigation. I love the sound effects of
and you just throw your finger up.
You're like, wait for it, wait for it.
Wait for it.
Not death, the death spinning. Okay, go ahead. Listen.
Will's search for commitment is going to really nag at him over the course of the second half of the season. He is going to come to a decision by the end of the year. Does that mean there is hope for reconciliation between Will and Alicia? That doesn't mean that it wouldn't bring her back into Will's sphere in some way. It just would have to be very different permutation because you don't want to just go backwards with the narrative.
Yeah.
There is this constant forward momentum to who Alicia is becoming.
Which is good. I'm glad that they're already aware of that and they don't just want to go backwards.
Yeah, it's like, let's do this. Do over.
Shows do that a lot. And
yeah, and it's
so
kind of
wait, they
boring.
do what?
where they just sort of like
recycle the relationship
and relationships, and
so the dynamics of the
than-
relationship don't change. Like
Yeah.
if Will and Alicia got back together,
It
a
would
lot of
be-
shows would keep it the same way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be some other dynamic. Like you
Yeah,
couldn't
because
sit
some
down
stuff
like,
didn't
yo,
happen. You know,
Right.
now it's like, I don't want to be hurt again. Are you gonna
Exactly.
hurt me again? You left me.
Exactly.
shoot, people do that with not even that person. It's like, oh, that wasn't you. That was 2 relationships ago.
Oh. Well, congratulations are in order for the cast and crew of our beloved Good Wife. Announced this morning, the show has been nominated for Best Drama Series Ensemble, along with star Juliana Margulies as Best Drama Series Female Actor for this year's Screen Actors Guild Award. The news comes fresh on the heels of the American Film Institute's inclusion of the show in their top 10 TV programs of 2011.
Nice.
Winners
Really
of the
good.
SAG Awards will be announced on January 29th.
And Juliana won last year, so
Yeah.
hoping for a repeat.
I thought she won the year before too. Oh
She
no,
won
last
the
year.
Emmy the year before. She won
Yeah.
SAG last year.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
up on it.
All right. Well, let's jump right into those predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right. So we are left really. I mean, we've got the show returns January 8th, so we've got a good handful of weeks to sit and ponder what is going to happen when it comes back.
Man.
And it's going to be, obviously we're going to trial a grand jury in regards to Will. I think that it seems like Wendy is going to take down Will in order to take down Peter, because Will isn't playing ball with her.
Yeah.
So she's going to try and destroy 2 people for the price of 1.
What
is
if
hateful.
What if Will and Peter become like
Allies.
That would
Yeah,
be
they're
so
gonna become
interesting.
allies.
Well,
I
that's-
would like to see that.
I think that that's the question. Is we saw last week they set up the foundation of Will talking to Eli, and them sort of becoming friends, and him letting him know this is happening. You need
Yeah.
to talk to Peter.
And then they turn on Alicia. No, okay, go
No,
ahead.
they wouldn't turn on Alicia, but they're all gonna turn on Wendy's got caught.
Yeah, they're all gonna go gangster on when he's
And
got
I
hurt.
can't wait for Peter to find out that Wendy's coming after him.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
I cannot wait for
awesome.
Peter to find out, because he's gonna go straight up.
and then
ballistic.
and then Dana could be a part of it too, and then they get rid of both of them.
Yeah, man.
Take them both down, and Kalinda's gonna be a part of it. She gonna take it down because she like Peter and she like Will.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a little too much right now.
So I love it. The enthusiasm.
Yeah,
It's
go
good.
ahead.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna be allies, Peter and Will.
And Will.
Yeah.
Right, because there was so
allies.
much tension between the two of them. This half, it would be so interesting to then turn that on its head and have them have to find a way to work together. Because essentially they do. They need to find a way to work together because they're both being come after by the same person.
Yes.
And it's in both of their interests to work together.
In
and
his
get
own
rid of her.
office. That's what's so sad.
Yeah.
And that's what's
she's on
going
his
to-
payroll.
Right.
Like she's
His
paying
payroll.
him
Get rid of
to
him.
take him down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That is
See?
dirty.
I would go.
Dirty.
Oh, they wouldn't be able
Dirty,
to. do it.
dirty.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to handle me if I was Peter.
Oh
She would
yeah.
get so.
Oh yeah. Her and her kids.
Yep, I was about to say I'd be after her kids, her husband.
I'd turn
yeah.
and flip it all
The
around.
mother-in-law,
Right.
mama. For real. I'm just saying.
Everybody going down.
That concept that he's paying her to take him down.
Yeah.
And I want to know, is Peter gonna, not Peter, if Will is going to mention it to who? To Peter? Is he gonna?
I feel like it's gonna be to Eli.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because
why didn't I think of that?
Because he's not friendly with Peter, but he is friendly with Eli. And he's already said last week, you're part of this firm. They're trying to take us down. You need to tell Peter to back off.
That's gonna be good.
So
and then Alicia, I love my stupid predictions. And then I'm like, okay, that's not good.
Great.
No, and then Alicia. Wait, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No, go.
And then Alicia. Somehow or another, her and Diana get at it because she's spending too much time, like when she had the meeting, and she couldn't be there with the kids. So they go head to head, and then the whole Will stuff kind of comes into the mix, and then she finds out that that Peter's trying to get off the Will, and she's a part of it because of the whole sex thing. And then all of a sudden she's like, forget it, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go to another firm.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was my prediction.
I do see that the friendship with Will and with Diane and Alicia not working.
Yeah,
because,
I see that too.
we saw what she said to her. You can't really focus on your family that much, and that's obviously been such a big issue for Alicia that I don't really know how that's gonna work out. And that twice this episode, Alicia was somewhere else when she was supposed to be at work.
Mm-hmm.
And that offer that Lewis gave is obviously still out there. It's still in the air.
But he's so shady. But as soon as Diane told her not to work with the kids, I was thinking, she's spending too much time with the kids. I'm thinking she needed to go over to the other firm.
Did she say that you're spending too much time with the kids? That's not what she said.
You tell us what your homie said.
Well, no, she did say that if you want to be on the partner track, you can't focus as much time on your family. This has to be your number one priority.
That's it. You spending too much time with your kids.
Okay, well, I just was making sure we weren't adding stuff to it.
Putting words in Diane's mouth.
She did say it. That's why Diana's alone now. Poor woman. She got a great career and a great, business, but that's all she's got. She's lonely.
Man.
Yeah.
No man, no kids, nothing to pass down to the next generation, leave a legacy.
Well, she has a legacy. She has nothing to pass it down to.
Yeah.
Well, people they're gonna forget it because there's nothing coming.
Right. Exactly.
She can adopt.
Yeah, she could.
Okay,
she might be a little beyond.
Probably a little African baby. That's like the trend now. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there. That's like the trend. Or Chinese baby.
And the thing.
Asian.
Yeah. China.
Oh, China. Yeah. Okay, yeah. African or.
I'm sorry, that's just a trend
in
Hollywood.
We figured out Diane's adoption possibilities.
I think you guys, the writers, you should throw that in there, and then she can understand what's going on.
I don't think Diane will ever adopt. I don't think we're ever going to see that happen.
No.
I wonder if she has kids in real life.
The actress? I think she does.
Because she plays that role so much,
well. She
just makes me seem like she don't have any kids. Like, she's killing the role.
Yeah, she is.
I need to go do some research.
She's just such a good actress.
She's amazing.
Great. She's so great.
She's so good. The thing that I'm most excited about, though, is Alicia and Kalinda. I think that's what I've been wanting all season long.
Yeah.
Is for them to come back together. And I am so pumped that that's about to happen.
I am excited about that. I'm very excited about that.
So, we are going to be gone for a couple of weeks. We're going to celebrate some holidays.
Gonna miss you, Billy. I know.
Come back in 2012 and get ready. So, new episode January 8th. We'll be back the Wednesday following. And we will see you guys later. From everyone on AfterBuzz TV, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Have a terrific holiday and New Year, and we will see you soon.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. Happy holidays.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.